Welcome to another episode of Chat Sports Section. I know my name's Chad. Take a dive on sports. And with this one, this is a video I think I've done earlier in the formation of my channel. And it's one of the first few videos that I did. And I was dealing with Major League Baseball expansion. The talk has started to speed up. About trying to get the Major League Baseball to expand to 32. I know the NBA has also done the exact same thing, so I'll have a video out coming for that here in the next few days. But this is going to be Major League Baseball. I'll kind of go over the aspect and how they could happen. You know, the two teams I think that could get in. I kind of go over some of the other expansion candidate cities, and then a breakdown on how the league or Major League Baseball would then be formulated to be a competitive entity to really focus on key rivalries and go forward. But before I get into all of that, if you could go ahead and smash that thumbs up, especially if the content provides you. Really please YouTube guys. It really helps put this channel out. You also subscribe. A lot of you guys review my work. Not many of you subscribe. It costs you a dime and helps me provide more time value for you. Now I'm gonna go over 5 cities I think are the top 5 right now, the candidates for Major League Baseball to get into. And I'll start off with number 5. Nothing's on everyone's list. Bringing nostalgia back. And that's the Montreal. Bring back in the Expos, some of the most iconic players to ever sometimes came out of Montreal, including Gary Carter, Andre Dawson, Larry Walker, Randy Johnson, Pedro Martinez. So, Vladimir Guerrero, they've had some iconic Hall of Famers that started in Montreal. Unfortunately, after the strike in '94, they had a very well-oiled machine up there in Montreal. They were poised to make a nice run. So the Chicago White Sox at the time frame. And ever since then, teams like Montreal and Pittsburgh have just fallen off the wagon and have yet to recover. Montreal ended up turning to be a major league farm team, basically. It's like they knew where the talent was. They knew how to develop the talent, but got rid of them before they had to pay the talent. And then there's just a constant revival of young players in Montreal, which never really mustered much of anything. The opposite of what Moneyball kind of did in Oakland for a bit. And after a while, fans just start losing their faith in the team and stop showing up. But now that they're gone, the memorabilia for Expos is enormous. People still buy it, much like Quebec Nordiques and Hartford Whalers. They still buy that stuff. So the nostalgia has really kicked in to try to bring back the Expos. There's a few problems. Stadium. The Olympic Stadium is still standing. Nowhere near Major League Baseball standards today. They will need to build a brand new stadium. I don't know if Montreal will do it. I'm sure they have the fan base for it. I'm sure they got rich enough people there that could, support in building a new stadium. I'm not sure they would. I don't know. I'm not from that region, so those who are in Montreal that are watching this, please, interact and kind of let us know, okay, what's the stance of possibly getting a stadium there. But I think they're number 5 on the list. I think Major League Baseball has other targets they really want to go to. Number 4, I'm just going to put Carolina. I'm kind of cheating on this one, so deal with it. But Carolina is definitely a good area for baseball to go into. I think it's far enough away from Atlanta where the Braves can't claim territorial rights. I think Charlotte is probably the better choice because of the huge population and the banking corporations there that could buy skyboxes and give out tickets to their customers and employees. So there's definitely headquarters of Bank of America is out there in Charlotte. They could actually, help spur the a rival in Major League Baseball to Charlotte. But I also think Raleigh-Durham area could also never be another key factor. Durham Bulls is probably one of the most iconic minor league baseball teams of history. Everyone kind of knows them. Bull Durham kind of helps solidify that in terms of movies. But you also have more, I guess, youth, you want to say. A lot more, the big three research triangle out there with Duke, North Carolina, NC State. The only competition they really have is the NHL, because only the Hurricanes are out there in Raleigh. So I think Raleigh could be another unique aspect. I think they're big enough as well to kind of host Major League Baseball. But Charlotte has more of the money, the bigger population. So I'm leaning towards Charlotte on this one to, spearhead the Carolina flagship. But I think with that, uncertainty which one to go to, and possible Braves blocking it, kind of keep Charlotte down to number 4. Number 3 is Portland. I do believe in my earlier video I kind of had Portland up there at the top. Just because of the Pacific Northwest, there's not much out there for other teams besides Seattle. Seattle needs someone close by to kind of give them more of a local rival to really compete. Kind of helps sometimes a little bit of travel cost, and Portland's a prime example. A nice, good-sized metro area. They already have the NBA and Major League Soccer. They've been trying to get other franchises there. The Penguins was a prime one they tried to get. And they're also trying to get baseball there as well. They have the Portland Baseball Project, or the Diamond Project, I believe is what it is, to try to incorporate a nice stadium, whole entertainment district to really bring up the experience for the fans there in Portland and really help them out in that aspect. But I think the population there in Portland has started to click down slightly, losing some population, and a downward trend in the population could affect their status. The major corporation got nearby, of course, is Nike. They can buy up skyboxes and donate tickets and whatnot. So you do that aspect that could possibly play out. But I think with Major League Baseball, they're going to look at probably an East and the West to fill in the blanks. But before we get into the top 2, the two I think that will get in, let's look over some of the honorable mentions, shall we say. Now, I'll put in San Antonio as an honorable mention. The Alamodome has played host to baseball before the Astros moved to the American League. Both Astros and Rangers used to do a final preseason matchup in San Antonio before the start of the regular season. Alamodome could definitely host baseball in weird configuration ways. Wouldn't be pretty until they build another stadium. The problem with that is location. They've been trying to build a new minor league ballpark for the San Antonio Missions, trying to find the right location to build that. It's been difficult in that aspect. So that's the problem with San Antonio right now, is trying to find the land that you can build upon to really help sell the team and give a picture of their skyline. And plus, Austin is starting to become more of a favorite right now in terms of growth and industry-wise. So Austin may try to plug some of that. So I'll throw in Austin in this kind of scenario as well. And maybe they go to Austin instead of San Antonio. So you got those two kind of competing, both the same aspect, finding room to build a stadium. Austin has room through there to have more of a skyline to work with. So it's one of those things, is like, where do you build the stadium? Right there in that south central Texas area. I think Texas could support a third team. Rangers and Astros don't have a huge stranglehold on the baseball fans in Texas, so nothing either or, but I like San Antonio better. Vancouver is another a decent spot, put there in Western Canada. Why they haven't put a team there, I don't know. Of course, another team, it's double factor thing because then it'd be across the way of Seattle, so create that nice rivalry between those two. It's a rivalry with Toronto for national pride. There you go. And a couple old school ones in Indianapolis and Louisville. These are both had National League teams prior to the formation of the American League in the 1900s. Or 1900, it's just 1901 to be specific. It's been a long time. Both have AAA teams there now, and I think them landing a Major League team would be beneficial as well. But right now, I don't know if they would go that route. But those are just some of the bubble teams that kind of considered and kind of pushed to a side. Some of them have a better standing than others. But like the aspect of possibly putting a team in Louisville, but a professional team in Kentucky who doesn't have one. A team in Norfolk, Virginia, or that Virginia Beach, Hampton Roads area. I think Virginia is the largest state without a professional team. So I think it's only a matter of time before that actually happens. But let's just go ahead and my top two and go at number 2, Salt Lake City. Salt Lake City, former Jazz owner, has really started to push to try to get more professional teams in Utah. Trying to get to NHL, and they're looking to try to get Major League Baseball. But a team in Salt Lake City could be very advantageous. Gives you another Rocky Mountain franchise, another mountain time zone, so it can be definitely a regional class with the Colorado Rockies. You put them in the American League, where American League actually needs more Western teams anyways. That's what says either Salt Lake City or Portland kind of get this nod. And for a team name, I actually came up with the Salt Lake Golden Eagles. The Golden Eagles was a team name of an IHL franchise, which is an older hockey league. Unfortunately, went the way of the dodo. They had a team called the Salt Lake City Golden Eagles. Then that team moved to Denver, became the Denver Grizzlies, and the team came back to Salt Lake City, just renamed themselves the Utah Grizzlies. So they could realize the Golden Eagles in baseball likes to name the teams after birds anyways. And the Golden Eagle is a bird, a raptor in the Utah area. Makes perfect sense. And there you go. They do have some renderings for a possible location. And we'll kind of see how this will kind of play out. Salt Lake City is definitely a city. It's also on the rise in population. Unlike Portland's kind of decline, Salt Lake City's kind of on an incline. So you got those, aspects to go along. Plus, put it right there, part of the Four Corners. So you got Arizona, you got Colorado, you got Salt Lake. There you go. I think it actually will work. Put in the American League, and off we go. In number 1, Nashville. Nashville has probably the biggest push of any possible candidate right now. Dave Stewart, the former great pitching great for the Athletics, is one of the main people that's really starting to push this. They already got a team name in place. Call them the Nashville Stars. It plays to homage to the old team that from the segregated leagues. Also, you look at the name Stars, is also pay attention to, Stars of the Tennessee flag. Also, Nashville being country music headquarters, and this is where country music stars are made. You got that aspect. So I don't mind the name at all. It kind of throws it out there to the link with the state and the city of Nashville. They got great renderings of a potential stadium. The only issue, I think, comes down to will the taxpayers of Nashville or Tennessee support building a new stadium? Because they've already approved a new stadium for the Titans. So they're going to get move out of Nissan Stadium and move into a brand new stadium. Will they support building another stadium for another franchise? That's the question. But like I said, Nashville is really number 1. If they can get more private funding for the stadium, I think the taxpayers would then be beneficial. They don't have to pay the full price. Maybe pay a portion of the price. They may go for it then, but do they have the owners with enough money to do that? I don't know. But I like the idea of Nashville. So I think the Nashville Stars and the Salt Lake Golden Eagles, those are my 2 coming up. So let's go ahead and break these down, how the Major League Baseball will look with the addition of 2 more franchises. Well, first, a lot of people kind of go, let's do just 4 divisions, make it 8 teams each. That way you have your 2 division winners. Then you have your 4 wild cards. They do the wild card round and then go face the division winners and divisionals, which do kind of make sense. However, it dilutes divisional play. Your rivalries will go down. You won't have, a 11-game, 15-game series between the Red Sox and Yankees. You're down to a 7-game series. So the rivalries kind of get pushed away. But it does kind of make it, those that sit on top of those divisions more advantageous to make it to the next level and be competitive in the postseason. But I think with Major League Baseball, they're not going to do that, just how their season's set up. It's not like the NHL that does that and can get away with it. Major League Baseball is a little bit different. I think they will follow the NFL model and do 4 or 14 divisions. What you have to watch out for is weak divisions. You had that problem with NFL every so often. You'll have a division that just becomes the epitome of jokes, being, like the NFC least when, it's nothing good about the NFC East except for the Cowboys. And everyone else was just terrible. The NFC South this past season. So those are the kind of things you kind of got to watch out for and try to keep rivalries intact. Try to keep the divisions making somewhat sense geographically, but not really. Like I said, they're following the NFL model, so geography's out the window when it comes to East, North, South, and West. So that's just throughout the AL East. Now this is kind of based off of current standings, or current-ish, in time of this video. So, this is kind of the reason why some of these teams are placed where they're at, to kind of make sure you don't have weak teams getting in. So the American League, the East, would consist of Boston, New York, Toronto, and Tampa Bay. That way you keep the Red Sox and Yankees together. I think is a key aspect in any realignment. Keeping key and huge rivalries together is one of them. Keeping the Yankees and Red Sox, you have to keep them together. It's a much hated rivalry in all of baseball. One of the best ones, besides I think the Cubs and Cardinals, Dodgers and Giants. That's what you think of Major League Baseball. You think of these guys. But anyways, so you just take the Baltimore Orioles and take them out. Now, originally I had Baltimore in here and put Toronto somewhere else. I kind of looked at it. It kind of negated some teams get into the playoffs doing that way. Because I think when it all said and done, they kept the Yankees out of playoffs because they were too far out of the aspects. So ensure that the Yankees can get in, which I think is what Major League Baseball wants anyways. Baltimore left, Toronto stayed. Now for Baltimore, I put them in the north. So it's Baltimore, Cleveland, the White Sox, and Detroit. So much like the AFC North. And this is where Baltimore is thriving. They're over a 600 baseball team right now this season. Do really well. Cleveland's had good teams. Detroit has good teams. Chicago's has good teams. Right now they all kind of in flux in different stages of up and downs. So it could be a good division. The South, geographically, makes no sense, much like the AFC South, because Indianapolis is not South. In AL South is Minnesota, don't you know, Kansas City, Texas, and Houston. It gets Texas and Houston away from the West Coast. It avoids Kansas City, Minnesota going to the West Coast. Puts them all together. Yeah, it's Minneapolis to Houston is a big deal, but Houston has to do trips that often to Seattle, which is a bigger burden on them. So it saves both the Rangers and Astros money in that aspect. The Twins lose, Cleveland, Detroit, and Chicago, as well as Kansas City will lose that rivalry. But they can develop a new one with the Rangers and Astros, and plus Minnesota and Texas can have who is the greater former Washington Senator team. since both teams were once known as Washington Senators. And out there in the West, you have Seattle, the LA Angels, the Las Vegas Athletics, because right now they have the plans to get them into Las Vegas. And this is where I would put Salt Lake. Keep everyone out west, makes it kind of easy for them. You can move on from there. The National League, a little more difficult trying to find the right teams to kind of balance in here. And this kind of makes more sense geographic terms anyways. But in the East, you have the Philly and the Mets. You have to keep those two together. Put the Pirates back in the East with Philadelphia, which was a stable before they split to 3 divisions. And then bring in Cincinnati. So now you have 3 old school NL teams in the same division. The North, this is this is the beer league, because you have Milwaukee, St. Louis, Colorado, Miller, Anheuser-Busch, Coors. And then you throw in the Cubs. So, yeah, you got this one, but you keep the Cubs and Cardinals together, which is great. Milwaukee starting to really develop a nice rivalry between these two as well. And Colorado will have to come up with new game plans. Yeah, this does stretch out the division a bit because you got to go from Chicago, Milwaukee to Denver. But it's not too bad. You're not going, to Pittsburgh. You're going to Denver. So, I don't think too bad at all comes to that. Now, for the South, this actually looks more like the South. You throw in Atlanta, you throw in Miami, Washington, and the Nashville Stars will come here. This is a Southeast kind of division set up. This is what the NHL used to be with the Southeast Division when they had Atlanta and Carolina and Tampa Bay, Florida, and Washington were all in this division. So very much like that, I think it actually makes sense. And then the West would be Arizona, Dodgers, Giants, and Padres. And once again, it's exactly where it should be. Make everyone happy. I think it creates a nice balance. You can do more games within your division to really, spearhead those division rivalries. Doing like a 15, 17 game series within your division opponents. Doing 7, 9 game series with the rest of the league. Probably do 3 game series with the other, inter-league play. And there you go. You can develop a nice, season where you are focused on your division. They're beating your division opponents, picking up those rivalries. I think that's what baseball really wants to go after, is more of that, fine-tune their division rivalries. You can really keep some of them together. Like I said, the Cubs, Cardinals, Red Sox, Yankees, Mets, Phillies, Dodgers, Giants, Astros and Rangers, keeping all those together. But hey, let me know down below what you think. Do you think this setup is the most optimal aspect that Major League Baseball could go to? Do you think they go back to the 4 teams, 4 divisions, and go that direction and decrease the amount of divisional games? Or you go to this format where you have more divisional games to really attract more fans into those aspects? Do you like the aspect of Nashville and Salt Lake City being the top 2 contenders, or you think we should have Montreal and Portland? Let me know down in the comments below. I know there's a few cities out there I probably did not mention and overlooked. I think Orlando is another one of the cities I think I've overlooked, but they are possibly trying to get the Rays to move over there if they can't get a deal done in Tampa Bay area. But once again, let me know down below. Once you're down there, make sure you hit that thumbs up once again. Also, make sure you share this video with your friends and family. It helps promote this video out. Once you subscribe, make sure you click that bell and turn on notifications so you know next time I post any more content on my channel. And I will see you next time on Chat Sports Talk.